Now, let's continue with this because let's speak live to Mark Montgomery, who's a retired Rear Admiral with the US Navy, now a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. And thank you for your time joining us in the run-up to this meeting. Just a simple, straightforward question to you first of all. Do you think Donald Trump will give President Zelensky the Tomahawk missiles?
I think there's a potential he'll offer them. The reality is, and I like the Tomahawk. I fired a lot of them. I think it's a quality weapon. The problem is the amount of American assistance that's required with intelligence, targeting, mission routing is going to involve the U.S. in a way that I think Donald Trump would become very uncomfortable over time. And the amount of survivability, special gear that's on a Tomahawk that makes it that it's a secret sauce. I don't think we're going to transfer that. So I actually think the Tomahawk is more of a political issue and not a military issue. I don't think we'll see it on the battlefield anytime soon.
Before I move to perhaps other measures that the president could take, if he was to simply announce, yes, in principle, we'll give Ukraine those Tomahawks, exactly as you say, and it will take quite a long time for anything to happen on the ground. Do you think that does have the potential to move things? Because when it comes to potential targets, those sort of missiles could hit inside Russia. We're talking about Moscow, we're talking about St. Petersburg, we're talking about key Russian military targets, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think we're talking about the refineries. I think really where this would help is I think the long-range unmanned vehicle strikes by Ukraine against the refineries are more challenged now by Russian air defenses. So it would really help with that, with lowering the Russian ability to refine oil and therefore lowering its overall GDP.
And we've already seen that with the drone attacks targeting exactly that. And it's thought even up to about 20% of oil refinery has been taken out just in the last few months with a new strategy from Ukraine. So look, if it's not Tomahawk missiles, what else could the president give to Zelensky that could help in the near term?
I think there's two areas. One is other offensive weapons. We've given ATACMS in the past, but probably about 100. We're getting out of the ATACMS business. The U.S. Army is moving on to a new weapon called the Precision Strike Missile, actually a Tomahawk. And we have thousands of ATACMS. If we were to transfer 500 or 1,000 ATACMS with no restrictions on where they go, they're about they won't go to Moscow, but they could do a lot of damage to the operational forces of Russia, hit their logistics, their command and control, and drive their lines back in a way that really impacts the Russian army's ability to execute this war. And of course, we'd have to provide the targeting there, the more basic targeting, to make sure they're hitting the right targets.
Well, Mark, good to have your thoughts. Thanks for joining us on today's Verified Live. And